What's going on, Twitch and YouTube? Welcome to episode 7 of my Starship Evo U.S.S. Revengeance build. I'm Zero Lee, and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. And if you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and helping me in supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Today we have about a 20-minute video. We're going to be doing a little bit more work on the nacelles, aka the ship engines, and then we're going to get some um, shape detailing in on the lower side of the saucer. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Um, if you've been sticking with me through this whole tutorial series on Starship Evo, I just want to thank you very much for sticking with me. Definitely been trying to put these episodes out as much as I can without getting too burnt out, but the progress has been going pretty good, and the response I've been getting from the community has been surprisingly positive as well. Of course, right to business also. You say I got my symmetry tool in place. This is very important when you're on Starship Evo because you don't want to have to work harder if you don't need to. So all the work that we're doing on the left side engine is being automatically done for us on the right side. Right now what I'm doing is I'm making a cut going along the side of the ship nacelle, and I don't have the picture up, but if you want to do a search on Google, you can type in Star Trek Discovery Section 31 ships. You pull those ships up, um, you'll see in the engines that they kind of have like this blue strip going down the middle of them on the side. So that's something I was trying to bring over into this build. Kind of like what I talked about from a couple of earlier episodes, that I didn't necessarily base this ship off of any one ship. I kind of took some ideas from a bunch of different ships and blended them together into until I got something that I wanted. So at this point, I'm just kind of gingerly adding some detailing in here and there. Um, all this stuff that I'm doing right here going along the side of the engine, um, I kind of reference this detailing directly from the Discovery Section 31 ship's engines. Surprisingly, they kind of actually reminded me of the engines from the Enterprise refit from Star Trek The Motion Picture. They look a lot like it, and I think they came out fantastic. I think even if they would have done something like that for the Vengeance, and gone a little bit more in that direction, I honestly would have been so much happier with it, because it's like it feels like it's in line, with canon, kind of like where the progression of the technology is going, the look of it, because by the time the motion picture came around, the engines, they didn't have that dome look anymore on them, and that design cue really didn't come back until like just pre next gen era, like with the ships from like the Enterprise C and whatnot. I could be wrong on that, but I don't recall the actual time frame on it though. But anyway, that's just a little bit of history on it, as far as where I think they got their reference material from, and I think it looks super cool. I love when they do that. I say it all the time that I wish that they would take the same care with Star Trek that they take with Star Wars. Because there's no reason that they can't. Some of those movies, they still hold up, and there's a lot of care put into them. And it's not to say that you can't update it. I think there's room to make it look better, and I think that they're not in every episode, but in some episodes of Discovery, they've had great examples of that. You know, um, so that's just kind of my inspiration here on why I'm making some of the decisions that I'm making. Because ultimately, I wanted to make kind of a Vengeance esque Section 31 ship, but I didn't want to make a Vengeance Section 31 ship. I want to make something kind of like a little bit closer to Constitution class, but then as I, started building this thing out, I just started throwing in different stuff and just kind of ended up with what, you see here. Um, it was kind of, this build was kind of weird too, because um, some of it I didn't have like a clear idea in my head exactly on where I knew where I wanted all of it to go, which is rare because a lot of times I'll usually know exactly what I want to do. Now, I do want to get back in a little bit what we got going on here. As you see, I'm getting ready to put blocks right behind this cut. And this is actually very important because I'm going to be putting the impulse engines on the other side. In order to get them to stick out, we need to have this block sticking out back here. Um, it's funny, on Starship Evo, I haven't really seen people starting to use these impulse engines or the light speed engines as decoration until I started putting builds on here. Now, that's not to say that they weren't. I'm just saying I didn't see anybody. They could have very well, have been doing it beforehand, and more than likely they did, and I just didn't see it. But point is, I think that is really cool. Using these impulse engines as detailing. And you're going to see I'm going to use it a couple of times here on the exterior of the ship, and I'm actually even going to use it at some points on the interior too. I'm going to use the smaller ones for like lighting. I don't like that single block there in the very front. I'm going to need to change that out. But that strip, that glowing strip itself, I think that looks pretty fantastic. It looks good. Definitely going to be getting a decent amount of detailing in on the exterior of this thing. But at the end of the day, it's important to remember that this is a stealth battle cruiser, so it's gonna. I think that invokes some slick lines to it, so you can see kind of like, especially like right here where the impulse engines are. It's got like a real sleek design to it. That area on the saucer. I want to like try to keep that going throughout the ship, but also adding in additional details where I need to make it look like a spaceship. Pretty much is what I'm getting at. All right, now I should be able to bring that all the way back. You can see basically solution to that problem was just adding a single block in front, and that fixed it. So now there's no single block in the front. It's a clear um, 3 bars of equal length in that pattern. That looks great. Definitely want to keep that going across your ship, having consistency and having both sides match up. Because when you start veering away from that, is where you really start having problems with your build. So I like this shape that we got going here along the top of the engine, but we need to smooth out the sides here. So we're going to use our shape, slope the sides until we get something that is nice and smooth. We're going to have to go to this block right here, I think. Yep. And I could have left this area off of the ship, and I don't think it would have necessarily looked bad, but I got to be honest, with this piece added on it, I think it looks really good, and just other details we're going to add in on the engines as we go, because we're not going to get everything done this episode. We got a couple of things we're going to do on the engines. We've already done a couple of them, and we got some stuff that we're going to do on the lower hull of the saucer. But try to squeeze as much as I could into this episode. But the next week's episode is going to be about a 22-minute episode, so I didn't want to have a 40-minute one. For Starship Evo is what I was getting at. I wanted to, have it long enough where I can get stuff done, but not have it too long where I'm overstaying my welcome, if you know what I mean. All right, it's perfect. We got the front side done nice and smooth, so now I'm literally just going to repeat the same process on the back side. I could have just made that 3, stretched it out to 3 wide, or you can just place down 3 blocks singly, but it's definitely convenient having that mechanic there for you. So we've only got one little piece left, this underside that we just have to slope out, and then we're good on this piece when we move on to the next part. But she is finally starting to come together. I'm actually really happy with the progress I've made on this ship so far. I've gotten a lot done in 7 episodes. Almost the whole outside of the ship at this point has been completed aside from details. Um, We're in good shape, I think. If you're enjoying what I have going on here, definitely drop a comment below. Let me know in the comment section what you like about this ship, maybe what you don't like, or what other ships you would like to see me build on Starship Evo, or just other builds in general. You never know. If I'm getting enough comments for it, if I something I'm really into, I might just go ahead and build it. But I'm going to be doing builds on here indefinitely, so that's definitely something to consider. I always like to try to get the community involved in the stuff that I'm working on, but we still have a little bit more work to do on this ship before we're going to be wrapping this one up. Haven't even gotten into the interior yet, and like I was saying at the beginning of the episode, the series has been going well enough that I'm keeping this going with my Minecraft episodes. So if you're enjoying it, definitely let me know in the comments section. But always looking towards the future. I'm not sure what I'm going to be building yet on here next. I've got a couple of ideas. I don't know why, but I keep going back to the Batjet from Batman 1989 and thinking that would be a really cool build to do on here. I don't know why. Maybe just because I know that with the building mechanics on here, I feel like I could really pull it off. If that's something you want to see me build, let me know in the comments section or let me know what else. But you see, right now I'm actually inside the actual engine now, and I'm pretty much just trying to hollow it out because what I'm ultimately going to end up doing is the ship batteries ends up going in the engines, and that's something you're going to have to play by ear when you're doing it for your ship. I found out the hard way that with this new update with the warp drive, you pretty much got to have a pretty decent sized battery to really go any long distances. I filled my entire engines up with them, and I was only able to go over a couple of light years, really, I think. But also bear in mind, I haven't really had a lot of a chance to mess with the warp drive. I've been kind of playing Starship Evo enough to where I can get some builds done, but I'm really not trying to get into it too much. Exploring around and stuff. I did it a little bit when the update came out, don't get me wrong, but after, I warped a couple of times, I haven't really messed with it since then, and I'm just really waiting for them to do something else with Starship Evo. I know that they put out an update for more variety in planets. That's great. Hopefully they make it to where we can go to those planets. Hopefully they add more alien species, alien civilizations to go to explore. Um, I know that they got the multiplayer. I think that would be cool. Having servers is another thing that could be cool. But no, they just they have the template here to do something really, really, really cool. But they need something in the game to really bring it to life and to give people a reason to get on here and not only build a ship, but have a reason to use the ship. I think is the key thing because there are a lot of builder games out there, and I will say that this game is very, very, very builder friendly. Um, I will praise that up and down. When I first got on Starship Evo, I had a ship rolling within 20 minutes. Not a ship like this, but a basic, first time ship on here. It wasn't super difficult. I don't know if you ever played like a game like Space Engineers or way more challenging, or Star Made. That's another one. I never really got into those, but really, really enjoyed this game so far. It's been great, but it's lacking some uh, solid content to really flesh out the game. Once that happens, I feel like I'm going to be all over this game. But not to discourage you or anything, because I'm still going to be doing videos on here weekly. And as they put out more content on this game, you can expect me to be on it more in the future. But like I said, right now I'm just kind of like in idle mode, waiting for them to get out some more content. But we're definitely going in the right direction. So, all right, we're literally just filling in this area here in the very front of the engine, just because I literally just want one cut in the front, and I'm filling in everything else on the sides because we're going to have that impulse engine strip in the front, just like it looks on like the Vengeance or the Section 31 ships. They had that blue strip in the front. I think it looks pretty cool. So there I have a cut that I made in the side of my engine. Let's get that fixed really quick. It'll be in good shape. I had a couple of people ask me if they can get their hands on this thing, and you can definitely if you're on Steam. Uh, Go on the Steam Workshop for Starship Evo, and you can search Zero Elite, or you can also search the U.S.S. Revengeance, or below in the description, I've also got a direct link that'll bring you to the ship so you can download it. That's actually the finished ship. We're actually so far behind on this in comparison to it being done, because I finished the ship a while ago. But, I've only been releasing so many videos at a time on Starship Evo, like for reasons I stated earlier. But if you want to skip ahead and see what this thing looks like, definitely check out that download. And I've got a bunch of other downloads on there also. So I'm trying something out here on the backside, and I know I'm not going to like what I just did there. I'm going to get rid of that. But you'll see me do that from time to time, and I encourage it. Everybody try that. If you're not sure about something, throw it down, see what it looks like. Or if you have an idea in your head and you're not sure, the only way you're really going to flesh that out is if you try to build it. Or try to make a change. And I was just really trying to see there, trying to envision what it would look like if this back piece right here, the slope, if I stretched it out going backwards, if it would look any better. And I just made the decision after just being able to see that one bar that it wasn't going to be along the lines of what I wanted. And that looks pretty darn good. I was supposed to actually get on this weekend and work on the interior on the Cerritos. Haven't actually hopped on yet, and I had fully intended to, but I had a small setback with it. I have gotten on Minecraft this weekend, and I was going through the interior of my ship, and basically what I'm doing right now is I'm prepping out what exactly I'm going to do on the interior, and I'm just trying to make a final decision on where I'm going to put certain things. The number one thing really, and what's holding it up right now, is I just have to make a decision on what I'm going to do as far as engineering goes. When I get to that episode on Starship Evo, I'll be talking about it more. But basically, what it's come down to is that I'm not 100% certain where engineering goes. I've got the blueprint for the ship, and based on what I've seen in the blueprint, it looks like it's in the saucer underneath the bridge. But something about that just doesn't sound right to me. Um, but I don't know. I'm going to try to look around to see what else I can find before I really do that. But also in the same time, I've kind of been, put it this way, I've been putting more and more into the idea that I'm going to end up putting engineering in the saucer. So I'm trying to prep out what I'm going to do as far as the layout goes. Excuse me. Pretty much just trying to get an idea beforehand of where a couple of these rooms are going to go, because some of them, believe it or not, is going to take up quite a bit of room. Especially if I end up doing the engineering in the saucer, that's going to be a completely different design on what I'm normally used to doing. So that's definitely going to be a challenge. But we'll get into that once we cross that bridge. I do want to get back into Starship Evo and what we got going on here. You can see I'm using kind of like this upside slanted triangle block here for this corner side here. And I'll try to explain this the best way I can. I'm more or less trying to have some nice curvature under here without it being completely flat. And I'm also trying to line that up with my corners, the sides of the walls here, and really, the only way I can describe doing that is just going from the different blocks, stretching them out wider, long ways, and seeing what works and what matches up until you come up with a block that's really going to work. I think what I'm ultimately going to end up have to doing for this area right here is going back to this upside down sloped triangle block. But this part of the ship and the upper side of the saucer were, I mean, it was a challenge to do. It really was. It wasn't as hard doing it on this ship because, believe it or not, when I built the Cylon Raider on Starship Evo, um, completely different, well, kind of similar shapes, but actually still quite different. Um, and But anyway, it was similar enough in the sense that I was able to apply that build to this one. So I still have a lot of stuff left to do on it, but I think that's going to wrap us up today. We've gotten a little bit done, but like I said, we're kind of cutting it short a little bit today because the next episode is going to be over 22 minutes. And I didn't want to pop out a 50-minute episode today. I wanted to try to keep it within a reasonable time frame. But I think that's going to wrap it up. If you have any questions or anything regarding this build or anything, let me know in the comments section. Try to help you out. If there's anything you want to see me build, definitely drop a comment below. And other than that, be sure to follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/ZeroElite. And you can always catch my new Twitch streams Sundays through Thursdays, typically between 9 and 10 p.m. Eastern. And if you're on Twitch, please be sure to follow me on YouTube. You can always go to youtube.com/C/ZeroElite. You can always catch my new Starship Evo builds dropping on Mondays at 10 a.m. and my Minecraft videos dropping Tuesdays through Fridays at 10 a.m. Anyway, just want to thank you all again for tuning in today's episode, and I hope everybody has a happy and safe week, and I'll catch you in the next episode.